Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining me on Status Check today. Today is July 27th, 2026. I almost said 2006 because I have an inability to acknowledge that it's 2026. My name is Nicholas J. Orcutt from the Fractured Line. I am joined today. So, are we going to go by Hawthorne v. Rabbit? Do you want to go by James? I
James HVR hot, whatever. I got
HVR.
nothing.
I like HVR. We are joined today by James. He was the featured writer last week for my my spotlight of the week on the creator and Substack. Um, I am thrilled to have him here today. He's going to introduce himself now and tell you all about what he does.
Yeah. Well, hello everyone. My name is James or HVR or Hawthorne v Rabbit. I've been writing on here since September of last year. I've been writing on the whole for like a year. I don't know. There's never really much of a writer. Like I was in school. I'm a high school teacher. I've been teaching for 15 years. And so I taught writing, but not like writing. It was like essay based writing, your best expository or persuasive essay. And yeah, and then I started writing on my own and just like mainly on my phone. And I was actually in Colombia about this time last year. I got extremely sick. Was basically no good to compete. The whole trip was canceled. I was in a hotel getting emergency medical care while writing the story on my phone about what all happened. And that became my first book that was out in September. So yeah,
So
and then
the
I'm on
first,
here.
so I got to ask what is it? My name is Perry. Is that the one you wrote? My name was Perry.
Oh, Perry's my dog. Yeah,
So,
Perry
or
was my
his
dog,
name
and
was Perry,
I've
right?
written about him a lot lately.
His name was Perry. That's the name of the story you have.
Yeah.
Where you talk about the two different ambulance crews.
hmm
I, uh, I, how true is that more biographical or
Oh, that was completely fact based. I mean, I have the different piece I wrote about that specifically goes into the two crews, where one of them was uh, the short version of it is, this was back when I was 24. I decided I had enough of the world, and I was going through the pills to take care of that, and ended up getting second thoughts when the cat came in, even though the door was shut, which can't quite get into that one. But yeah, I called 911, was taken away in an ambulance, and the crew was kind of rude. Like, I was like, "Hey, can we like cover the windows a little bit? Like it's really bright in my eyes." So like, "You lost the right to make your decisions and to request things." And I'm like, "Okay." And they're like, "Not only that, it's stupid to do this." And I'm like, "Okay, I'm not disagreeing, but also like, come on." And yeah, they're just kind of rude. They're like, you know what? I'm tired. I'm gonna take a nap. Like, no, don't go to sleep. Don't go to sleep. I'm like, no, no, it's okay. I called you guys. I'm gonna take a nap. And then when I
yeah.
got taken from the hospital to the psych ward, I had two amazing paramedics, the most kindest, most gentlest people I'd ever met, essentially, who basically did the groundwork for, I don't want to say recovery or healing. I hate words like that, but for things to change.
So I can say from the other side of the fence, right? So I've been the guy in the back of the ambulance for 15 years. Um, and I've been both of those crews. I've
Yeah.
been the guy that's like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And I've also been the one that's, "Hey, I've been there too. I've gone through what you're doing. There is a light at the end of the tunnel." Um, it is. I love. So it sucks. I hate that you went through that, but I love the different perspectives that you got from the different mentalities that come with that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
the job itself, being a paramedic, it sucks. It's a terrible job. So, been
hmm
doing it for a long time. It is the fastest way to burn yourself out. And the thing about when we say burnout, people assume when we're talking burnout, we're saying I'm burned out mentally, or I just don't have I'm exhausted and all this. The thing that really happens with burnout, and this is where it's dangerous, is you lose empathy.
mm
And so once that empathy starts to go, once that empathy has been ripped out of you, that's when it's a downward spiral, and it takes a long time to both realize that happened and to fix it.
Yeah.
Um, and I would almost guarantee the first ambulance crew you dealt with, that was they were and again,
Yeah.
not making excuses for them.
No, I
They
hear you.
were absolutely I could almost guarantee just from the way they interacted was, you know, it's that lack of empathy because it's just it gets too much, right?
Yeah.
Um, we both write. We both kind of fell into writing too, I would say. Neither of us like set out in the morning to be like, "Hey, we're going to be
Mhm.
writers." It's just we didn't know what else to do. Um, kind of just, you know, eh, to us kind of like putting on shoes. It's just we have to do it. Um,
Yeah.
but I would say that it is a it's hard to explain to people that level of lack of empathy, you know? And I've tried to write about it, and it's probably the hardest thing I've ever tried to explain to people of what it's like to just stop being able to care and, like, actually stop being able to care. Not like, "I don't want to," not like, your body just it's a defense mechanism, you can't handle it, and it
Mhm.
really, really, really sucks. Um,
Yeah.
but I appreciated that you had the mutual the side to side perspectives because truth is being a paramedic, it's you have a opportunity to make a huge change. We just don't see it all the time
Yeah.
because once we bring him to the hospital, we're done. Um, I did so this was I want to talk to you about probably the biggest Substack thing going on right now, and that is the AI detection. Uh,
Oh no. Practice. Anyway,
um,
you got me.
I I how do you feel about not the AI detection? The AI detection, I actually ran my stuff through it, and it's not good. It would say, like it would fail, uh, it would give, like it would be, like, 15% AI detected on things that I would have written in the Substack actual, like, browser, and I was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
"Okay." But how do you feel overall about the usage of AI with writing, especially as a teacher?
So one thing about me and AI is I pick up I don't need a detector. I can already see it usually.
Huh,
I've caught it with enough students over all the years. I'm like, oh, okay, they're the phrases. There's this. Oh, you jump to that. Okay, that's an AI thing right there. I typically know them. However, teachers are not allowed to use AI detectors because they're not reliable.
really?
We're not allowed. And it's also always like there are different rules about like students and their what is it called? Not FERPA, Federal Education Rights Protection Act. We cannot put their stuff through an AI detector because it's violation of their privacy and confidentiality.
That is wild. That
I
is
know, right?
wild.
But we're doing this for us that, oh, it must be okay. Now, there are other ways I catch people doing AI. There's a lot of easy ways to do it. Like, I can put on like their Google, I can put on like basically a track thing where it shows like what their keys are doing. I can see a copy, paste, delete, 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 space, space. I've got all these ways to track it without using a checker. Um, yeah, all that being said, how I feel about writers using AI, I mean, it's what are you comfortable with and how are you comfortable doing it? I know people who say all the time, like, oh, I've used AI for this or I did this for that. They're very upfront about it. I know some who, but I guess my only issue is people who lie about it. I never, 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 and then do it. Now, do I use AI? Yeah. Yeah. Do I use it the way people might think I do? I don't know. Like, when you hear it, what do you think? I don't really like the art necessarily. Um, Mainly look at it, like, double check my spelling and grammar because I make errors. Um, Frankly, I hate reading my own writing. I'd rather someone else say, "Yeah, fix that."
Yeah, so
If I want to read good writing, I'd read someone else's.
I have been always transparent. I use, AI to do spell check and grammar check because I type everything in Microsoft Word
Mhm.
because I'm old. Um, Microsoft Word doesn't understand context. So, it is
No,
super frustrating for me. I'm on the spectrum, and so it's super frustrating when I see, like, the blue squiggles under things or the red squiggles, and I'm like, "No, this is the right way to do this."
but the context is correct.
Yeah, that being said, I've always been very, like my AI prompt is it's literally like, "Check this for spelling, grammar, and mechanical errors. Do not add, delete, or compress content. Do not change
Change
my
the
words."
voice.
Yes. I've always been very like, and you have to be completely like to the letter with what you want it because it's going to do whatever it's going to do. Um,
Yeah.
that being said, there is a, I say like I don't know. Did you with your book that you did? Did you get a literary agent? Did you go through the whole process of the literary agent?
I'm still not sure what those are.
Me
I did
neither.
a thing on my phone, like, I wrote it on my phone, and then when I was done, I like did some editing on my computer, and then I just and off it went.
So I
I
did
did
like,
my it was self-publishing. That's what they call it.
yeah. So I ended up going self publishing after dealing with literary agents. But the problem I had with it was I would you have to do a query letter and then they maybe or maybe don't read it. And it is the most demoralizing process in the world. If you don't have to do it,
Yeah,
don't. It is just a great way to make yourself feel like shit. Um, but the
I did
amount
that
of
pretty well
like,
already.
oh yeah, same. The amount of like AI I was competing against for literary agents, and they would say like, "We're looking for this type of
Oh,
work," and it's like the work they were looking for was AI written work because with like the AI programmings, it doesn't write so it writes a story, but it writes a story in an algorithm that it knows will attract a demographic, right? So like, think
a
Twilight.
niche.
Yeah, think Twilight. Twilight essentially could have been an AI written book. Um, and that's a knock on anybody who's
All
read
four of them.
Twilight. But it's not, or like 50 Shades of Grey was written by, I think, a third grader using AI. Um, and yes, I've read it. I stand by that.
I read Twilight.
Yeah, again, not a good book. 50 Shades of Grey was worse. But it's the AI argument for me is less about it. I think that we all miss the human element that we take out of it, and that I know that for a lot of people, it's this makes my work easier. All it's doing is highlighting my thought or anything like that. But I would argue that it's not highlighting your idea or your concept. What it's actually doing is putting your concept through an algorithm to make it buzzwords, to make it good for
Healing.
yes. Um, and I feel like that just cheapens the art overall. I I know this is me being an old guy sitting on my yard saying no kids, no kids playing on the fucking grass.
It rocks.
Yeah. I know that and I acknowledge that, but it's just that has been a in fact, I think a long time ago, me and you had a conversation. There was a creator who he wanted me to post his article. And I was like, well, I'd have to check it. And he goes, no, post it as is. And I go, well, that's not how I do things. I check things. And he goes, I know it's correct. It's all AI done. And I go, excuse me? He goes, yeah, I had AI do it. I'm like, okay, well, first off, AI makes mistakes all the time. Second off, why are you telling me this? Like, and he was proud and he's like, well, I always use AI for my stuff. And I'm like, I don't, I'm against that. Like that. I write, I'm against that. He goes, well, I challenge, you can't do what AI can do. Like, you're right. I can't
That's
do
probably
buzzwords.
correct. Let's keep
Yeah.
it that way.
Yeah. Like, you're right. I can't, like, I spend hours working on my writing. Like, it's not a simple process, right? Um, I'll sit there, like, I write about it and people think I joke, but I sit on my living room floor and I have my dog right here and I have my son behind me and he's watching something stupid on YouTube or on my phone or something and I'm writing and I'll spend hours sitting on the floor. My back kills me all the time, but the only place I can write is on my fucking floor. Um, but yeah, like a computer program doing that, yeah, it can, but it doesn't have the same purpose.
Yeah.
It was actually it's why I
Yeah.
started writing protocol deviation. Protocol deviation, I literally it's a surrealism story of PTSD that AI cannot understand, which I loved it. I'm like, yes, I want something that AI can't comprehend because it doesn't understand the human experience.
Yeah, my book does all these time loops and frame stories and all that, like trying to figure out like how to make it work best, same kind of thing. Uh, I actually wrote today about AI because of all this AI stuff going on. There was a prompt about like witches and witchcraft in the woods. I'm like, you know what? Let's have some fun with this. And I made it's like AI's on Iverson practice. I
I
threw all
caught
that
that.
in about the fear of AI.
I caught that, and I also
None of them
appreciated
ready for it.
the AI. Iverson was my favorite basketball player, and
Yeah.
I had 3 different Iverson jerseys. I even had a Georgetown one, and I grew up in
Really?
Syracuse. That is a huge, like, faux pas.
Wow, that's blasphemy.
Yeah,
He's from Newport News too.
yeah. He
He and
was
Michael Vick. Yeah. Then
he, uh he was just, he was one of the best. He dunked on Jordan, and I love Jordan. He dunked on Jordan,
oh yeah. Yeah.
but,
And he was 6'2", 6'3", maybe 6'1".
oh, yeah, he was not a big dude. He was the answer, man. He had the whole, what was it? The And mixtapes. If you've never seen him, I highly recommend.
Yeah.
Um
Oh yeah. I was hot sauce. You had hot sauce. You
Mhm.
had
The
the
Professor.
professor. Professor was the end of it though. Professor's still doing it
Yes, he is.
on Facebook and such.
Well, and so, the other thing, and I don't think most people don't realize this, like, me and you have talked a couple times, and we both come from almost the same type of background, where we are, like, the white kids who didn't fit into being white kids. Um,
Third culture is what they call it technically.
yeah, well, so,
What does
like,
that even mean? I don't know.
so I have a friend who's, she's black, she's trans, and she calls me her off-white friend, and I've always appreciated that. Yeah, I'll be off-white. I was like, "Eggplant?" She's like, "No,
Beige.
just off-white." I'm like, "Okay." But, we both have a perspective that is not your, normal normal 40-year-old white guy perspective. Um, it's one of the things I think we've actually gotten along very well on. It's probably what's made a lot of things significantly easier. But overall, so how do you so in the whole AI thing, right? It's been polarizing. I've seen articles going every way on it, and I don't wanna say that the articles feel telling, but it almost feels telling that the people rallying against it are the ones that seem to wanna that at least I guess if you're gonna use AI, be honest about it,
Mhm.
and I feel like that's missing. But that's my opinion. That's not.
The ones I've read, all but one will say I use it for this or that.
Mhm.
One of them was like played around, flirted with. I think the whole point was to like do I or don't I kind of thing. I like that. Like the whole thing was like try me. I was like, okay, I can get with that. But the ones that go viral, I haven't read a ton of those.
Yeah. I,
Thousands of
well,
likes or whatever.
yeah. Well, and the thing is, there was one that wrote and it was one of the ones that went viral, and I put it through the AI detector itself, and it said it was like 85% AI. And I was like, "That tracks because that's what would go viral because that is" again,
They
it's
algorithmize it. The algs, you know what I'm saying?
optimized it, yeah. Like,
Yeah, that word to go viral.
it's
I
just
know.
it's a wild. I don't know. I never thought that we would be in a situation where we would have to almost defend AI against AI.
The that AI gets the AI.
Yeah, like, use it if you want to, disclose it 100%, but, like, also the AI detector is just not working right, and I think we can both agree that the AI detector is just not what it should be or
Yeah,
could be. Um, so I did actually have
I do feel for non. Sorry, go ahead.
oh, no, go ahead.
I feel for non-native English speakers though.
Yes.
So it's like if your English is not your native language, it is. It's a tricky language. Like you got all these irregular, post-irregular, pre-irregular verb tense endings based on whatever form you're in. Like I don't judge anyone for that. I also wonder though. Like I had someone message me like, "Hey, I did this poem. I had this one word in it. It says 100% AI. If I delete this word, it says it's 0% AI. What gives?" And I'm like, it doesn't make sense. That's all.
Yeah.
One
My
word makes it 100% AI.
yeah, that's not I mean, and the thing is, again, it's gonna be how it's interpreted from that program, and I don't know how well that program works. Um, my own opinions of the actual program are not like there's issues with the CEO that did it.
Mhm.
I I actually had something
Someone
like
wrote there's
no,
an
go ahead.
uncomfortable fiction about it. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. Uncomfortable. If you know Ellis Elmstress, uncomfortable fiction.
Yeah, is that
He
the one
wrote
you sent me
about
yesterday?
an unnamed company. I might have, yeah. Where he
Yeah.
wrote like a company in a situation.
Yeah, no,
We never say what.
yeah, no, it's a very it's a slippery slope, you know what I mean? It's just it's a ugly ugly situation that I don't think there's a good answer for because either way you're gonna piss off
No.
half of the population of everybody on here.
Mhm. Sarah in the chat, Sarah Day, I can't say her last name. She also wrote a really good piece on it that I was like stared at for about 5 minutes afterwards, trying to understand, like, yeah, about the soul and the heart versus just a bot.
Yeah, and
Dickinson was using AI. Don't like. Sorry, this is a joke. So it's like Dickinson used M dashes.
so did the Bible. Yeah, the Bible was all about AI. Um,
Moses, come on, man.
it's all M dashes. So in all seriousness, with the M dashes, right? And that was a Chat GPT thing, right? That was a big Chat GPT giveaway. Um, I stopped using M dashes in my writing.
Mhm,
I cut them out, and
mhm.
I'm a New Yorker. I talk this way. I talk in M dashes exclusively, so it's so fucking hard for me to write and not use them.
Well, here's the other side: is it's like at this point, let's pretend M dashes are only AI. Just let's just pretend. At this point, have we all been inundated enough with said M dashes and AI that it's no longer AI? It's us learning from AI. If we want to go with that idea that it's all M dashes or AI, maybe we learned, what do you know? That's how you use an M dash, and now we're using them more regularly.
I mean,
You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah, and I don't know. It's also that it's kind of like that having a cut in the roof of your mouth. You notice it when it's there. That's when you can't leave it
Yeah.
alone. Probably the same way with M dashes. They were just, like I said, like I did when I did that article on the Bible not too long ago. I was quoting. I literally copy and pasted quotes from the Bible, like whole passages. And I'm like, God damn, there are a fuck ton of M dashes in this. I'm like I noticed it now because like I'm conscious of it. Like I'm almost self conscious of it.
Man, which translation am I right?
Yeah, right. Um, it was I used the basic one because I wanted to knock down the Southern Baptists. That was my so, so
So was it King Jamie version?
the King Yell version. And it's funny because like, like so like using AI for like translation and stuff. Like I grew up learning to speak Greek. Um I learned Spanish in high school. I speak Arabic. أنا بكلم عربي كويس أوي. Um
You speak Arabic?
أيوه أنا بكلم عربي.
You what?
Yes, I speak Arabic. I answered you in Arabic.
Oh,
I
oh,
spent some
okay.
time in the Middle East.
I know La Shukran, and that's it.
Shukran. Shukran Habib. Um
Yeah.
but I spent some time in the Middle East and when I was younger. And
Oh,
but it's I understand the I've had readers who have said, "Hey, I wish this was translated." Like I have everything set up now to translate naturally or whatever. So, like there's a way to do it. And I don't know how well the translations work because I've never gone over the translated versions that come out. Um, but like AI is perfect for that. That is where AI belongs. Um, one of the books like the sequel to that I wrote for Insurrection, um, part of it is has a French character. I speak maybe that much French, and so I used AI to help me translate the phrases of what I needed in French. So it has its purposes, and I think if it was used as that purpose, it'd be perfect. That would be exactly where it should be. I think the problem is when people are it's like poetry, right? You do a lot of poetry. I've always said I'm massively envious of that because I poetry is my kryptonite. I me try like I can read it and I'm like, okay. And I get super self-conscious. I'm like, I think it means this. And then I obsess over what I'm like, does it really mean this? And I will break it down line by line, trying to explain it to myself. Um, Me writing poetry is like chewing on glass because I am never happy with it. And I'm like, do I want this word? Like I once wrote a haiku about how I hated haikus and how I thought they were stupid because I just and it's like I'm afraid of them. I guess is the ultimate like I'm afraid of them. But I feel like AI cheapens poetry. Like I feel like for what you do, AI would cheapen the poetry.
I will say this though, we tag in a lot more of those haikus. Get you some practice. Practice.
It's not. I'm good without the practice. Well, that was like when I highlighted this week. I did Mila from the In Between, and I talked about like her poetry made sense to me. I was like, oh, okay, like, and I was like, you know, usually like usually I will sit there, and I think like you had once shared a poetry thing. And I said to you, I'm like, I sat here for half an hour, like trying to like I wrote, like, a review of it, and I literally sat there for half an hour just staring at it going, "I don't know what I'm doing." Um,
Yeah.
and, it was that was yeah, yeah. I have another reader, Sincerely Seb, I'm sure you've seen his stuff,
Oh yeah, yeah.
and, like, he was, like, the first person to ever be like, "Hey, look at my poetry," and I was like, "Okay," and I looked at it, and it was, like, a horror story poetry thing, and I'm like I was reading it, and I'm super confused, and then I realized at the end it's a labyrinth, and I'm like, "So I think I did it right." And he goes, "Yeah, you got it right."
You probably did.
And I'm like, "Oh, okay. Then I guess I got it." When that's my fear. That's my you know what I mean? That's but I feel like using AI in that will cheapen that because again, it's gonna put buzzwords you'll pick a word for poetry, right? And that word can mean multiple things. Um,
Mhm.
it will mean something to you, something to me. AI is going to optimize the word to mean what it wants it to mean. Everybody's gonna look at it and go, "Wow, this is really nice," but that's because it's pandering, if that makes sense.
Mm. Mhm. Yeah, makes a lot of sense, yeah. It finds what it's gonna essentially takes what's gonna do best and just, like, makes that the attention. I said,
Yeah,
like, they finds that 1 or 2 words that might go, not viral, what's the right word? Buzzwords or, like, tags or whatever you wanna call 'em. I don't really social media, like, I got Instagram, like, last summer and used it, like, 5 times. I'm like, "I don't
same,
even know what I'm doing."
same.
I'm too old for it. I
S
know it exists. I'm sure there's a purpose. I don't know what.
so
TikTok, same thing. Like, I don't even know what I'm doing.
on TikTok, I love to watch TikTok. My algorithm is something from a nightmare, um, and I mean that in, like, the most I get a lot of these, like, old people who are, like for the longest time, my TikTok was just this old guy or this old lady who was saying, "No, Ricky, you can't have me. I'm with Stanley," or something like that, and it was the best thing I'd ever seen because it was just them, like, sitting there looking at the camera with the words, and I don't it was the greatest thing I've ever seen. I can tell you it's not AI because there is nobody who would have ever said, "AI, I want you to make this," because I'm pretty sure that was made specifically for my entertainment. Um, so what's if Sarah said, "Every time you scan 1,000 words, charges Substack 5 cents." Well, I mean, yeah, obviously, like, the money that so Substack's got a weird business model anyway with the way it makes money and spends money, and I'm sure with them having this AI detection that's charging them 5 cents for 1,000 words, I can almost guarantee that they've done it enough that they know it's gonna be used, they know how and when it's gonna be used, and they've equaled out the cost benefit for it. Um,
Mhm.
Substack is at the end of the day still a company, and
Mm,
it's the rich aren't good at not being rich,
this is true. And it's never enough. Is 8 billion enough? 9 billion? Nope. Nope. Needs to be 10
right?
or whatever. I wonder though. Like, I think, do you think they're gonna end up taking it out of like pay sub money or something? Like a percentage of the pay subs go to cover that?
I'm sure. It would. I would be very surprised if they don't. Um, I think the only one I've ever seen that really doesn't take a percent, like even right now, they take. I think it's like a small percentage of it. Um, the only one that doesn't is like Beehive, or I can't remember the name of it. Um,
Well, one of them
no,
doesn't, but it has some other shady things going on.
yeah. Um, a lot of them have a lot of like. So the reason I use Substack, and this is like the only reason I use Substack, is because it gives me complete ownership of everything I make. Um,
Right.
they take a percentage of, I think, your paid subs per month or something like that. It's I once saw it, but it it, it gives me complete ownership of everything I create, and that's super important to me because, like, I mean, you do the same thing where we both write about very real situations that we've been in that aren't happy. They're not good situations,
Mhm.
and it's things that would scare an editor, right? Our shit would probably scare the shit out of an editor. Um, I me owning having the ownership rights to it means Substack's not going to tell me to edit or not put this, that, or the other thing. Um, so the reason why I do the lives on here, actually, because I've put them up on YouTube and I've put them up on TikTok, and they won't promote my lives because I have political leaning things in it. Um, they won't allow me to pay to promote them, which is wild to me. Um, actually, YouTube would. I just have to take a picture of my birth certificate for them, and I don't want to do that. Um, yeah, I think for
You
obvious
and
reasons.
someone else, right?
Yeah, right. I think for obvious reasons, though. But it's a wild concept of how they're going to do the money for it. Now, you've been teaching how long?
15 years.
Why?
Yeah. I don't know. I ask myself that 30 times a day.
So
When did I start?
my wife is a teacher. She's an elementary teacher. Um, and I can't do what you guys do, man. I she her whenever I'm like, how do you do it? She's like, that's why I have the summers. I'm like, I get that, but how? Like, this is wild.
Summers I've done elementary for like until now, the last 3 or 4 years. 4 years.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
You know, like, it's funny. The part I
it
never
was
realized,
different. It was nice. Like they're not playing around as much.
well, the part I never realized about being a teacher, and this is like, and it sounds stupid to say this because every job has politics and, you know, that weird office, whatever. I didn't realize how clicky and, like, politicky teaching as a field can be and how much
Mhm.
it's like, holy shit. Like, the nepotism, everything, like, I didn't expect it in teaching.
Yep.
Um, there have definitely been teachers that I've been like, "Wait, they work with you?" And she's like, "Yeah." And I'm like, I wouldn't trust them to put gas in my car." And it's like, "Well, you know, they're okay or this." And I'm like, "No. No, 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 no." It's just I don't know how you guys do it.
There's a reasons I don't hang out with teachers. I don't go to the luncheons. I don't go to the lunchrooms. I do as little as possible because they'll draw you in, and then they'll like make them everything to you. Like suddenly, before long, you're only thing you're thinking about is little Johnny in third period who told off Miss Smith or whoever, and you're like, what's she gonna do about it? You know, or whatever it is, or this parent did that, or that parent did that. Like that becomes all encompassing. They want you to fix it. I can't even fix myself. What am I doing with your situation? Put it in AI.
Now put your kid in AI,
There was
see what
I
happens.
actually told a teacher. we got this aggressive email from this very overeager middle manager who wants you to respect her authority. And so he's like, I'm not even dealing with this. He put it through ChatGPT. He was like, give me a decent response, and just pasted it in.
I mean, well, that was the other thing with my wife.
It worked.
I didn't realize how, like, vicious parents are. Like,
Oh,
holy shit.
I've been called a lot of things.
Yeah, no, like, she's
They don't
been
do it as much in
threatened.
person though.
Like, she's been threatened and everything, like, "I'm coming down there," and all this, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, "Jesus Christ," like, all because they don't like something their kid told, like, I don't know. Maybe I just didn't grow up in a household where, like, I had parents that would do that, but, like, oh, I can't imagine, like, and, like, they're told, like, "Oh, well, just talk to him this way or handle it this."
You were saying loss of empathy. I was thinking of that. Like, there's some teachers who lost that empathy too.
I believe. That I absolutely believe. It's gotta be defeating, you know? I can't imagine being.
I don't think I have. Sometimes I'm like,
No, go ahead.
I was, have you heard the phrase "learned helplessness"?
Mhm.
So that's the biggest issue I see in schools: learned helplessness, not just from students but teachers and adults. Oh, fix this for me, fix that for me. I don't know what to do. The biggest thing I do throughout the course of the years, I beat them out of fix this for me, make them learn to think for themselves. Like, well, I'm not going to do it if I don't know how to do it. I'm like, that's cool. I'll be over here watching you not do it. I'll see you next quarter with your F. And a lot of them fail the first quarter, but by second quarter, they start to turn things around, start to learn to learn. And my whole thing is like, I'm not going to learn it for you. I can't care more than you. If I care more than you, I do you a disservice. So what you give is what you're going to get. Now, come into the year, whatever, we're close to that board, I'll do what I can, but I'm not going to care more and I'm not going to do the work for you. Um, the client model, a lot of teachers will talk about the client model. When we started treating students like clients and parents like clients, that's when everything changed. I would partly agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, Actually, you're saying that people who shouldn't be teachers. C. Simone wrote something yesterday about like people who shouldn't be teachers, and she was inspired by a piece I wrote about. Inspired is the wrong word. I had a student who had several who had overdose and died, and why like I always carry Narcan. I always forget it wrong.
You're good.
It's figuring out, like, things happen with kids all the time. I've got my daughter. I don't know what this looks like. Some people like they grow up their whole lives dreaming of being parents. That wasn't me. I was more like, wait, what? Parent? um, Wait, why? Why would I be a client? Why would I be a parent? And I was like, I still don't know what I'm doing at all. I do know that I get my neck jerked around a little bit yesterday because I didn't do the right thing. I'm like, no, we don't do it to daddy's neck. Um, it wasn't the most fun. And I'm always carrying Narcan. And this whole piece talks about how there are people who shouldn't be teachers who are in it for all the wrong reasons. We're not talking creepy, evil stuff. We're talking people who shouldn't be teachers.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
No, don't apologize. I actually, one of the things I wrote was I literally I took a note, and I know you can't really see it on my one of my notes is about your piece doing that. Um, because I was that's obviously with my job I've given out I've given more Narcan than I think any other medication. Um,
Yeah.
Syracuse is not a very well-to-do area, and heroin is
Right.
all over. Um, I'm also one of those people that can tell you the difference between, you get the people that are terrified of, fentanyl. Oh, fentanyl this, fentanyl that. Yeah, it's got nothing to do with if it's fentanyl or not. It's got to do with dosage. Um,
Hmm.
I I think it's a sad world where so this is where I with the whole Narcan, especially teachers having it. I don't think it's a bad idea. I think you guys should be trained in it. I think general public should be trained in it. I think it's a very sad world though that we don't handle it as a opportunity to get people better. We're not using it to address the actual issue, which is the addictive nature and why are people going to this addictive nature? What brought them there? Especially kids, like high school kids. If we're talking about high school kids using opiates, there's a reason. Um,
Mhm.
without delving too much into a personal story on this, I have a somebody I know very well who, when they were 16, their step parent used to have them help them shoot up. They couldn't use the needle to shoot themselves up, and they would pay them in whatever was left over. And so that person became a heroin addict because of it. Like, I mean, it's what it's not like it's normalized to them, right? So they don't see it as anything it's not a negative. It's not, oh, I can't believe you're doing this. This is just normal. Um, I think that's where the issue is. It's not so much, oh, we have to deal with this epidemic of opiates. No, we have to deal with the epidemic of normalizing addiction and the treatment of it.
Mhm.
That's that is sorry, I didn't mean to soapbox on you.
No, you're good. No, you're kinda with me. I'm with you because I don't know how large the group was, but I had 2 of the students were in the same class. I guess one guy was overdosing, and the other group just left him on a park bench and went away. And I think one of them might have called an ambulance at the last minute far away, and they barely got to him in time. Um, that's kinda the way I look at it is, like, it's making people do crazy would they have done that already? I don't know, but it's making people do worse choices that much faster.
Well, like I can say on the EMS side, right? So when I'd go to an overdose call, I hated going to overdose calls. Not because I hated the call, not because I hated the patient, not because any of that. I would go to these calls and it was so defeating because we show up and it's the same. If I show up and they're breathing, I'm not doing anything. I'm just going to bring them to the hospital. They're breathing. They're not overdosing. They're just high. Um, as long as they're breathing, monitor their breathing, make sure they keep breathing. Overdosing is when they stop breathing, when they just turn blue. That's when they're dying. Um, when they're like that, unfortunately, in our situation with 911, the police will show up and they will slam Narcan. They will just give Narcan after Narcan.
Mhm.
What happens is if you give so two things that can happen. You give Narcan too fast, it will all hit at once. It takes if you give Narcan like through the nose, it takes 3 to 5 minutes for it to actually absorb in through the mucous membrane. If you give it too fast, you can cause pulmonary edema, fluid to fill up in the lungs. The other thing that happens, almost guaranteed, is you're going to put that person into withdrawal. They're going to wake up angry, violent, and probably vomiting on you. I hate getting thrown up on. I know, like most people aren't a big fan of it. I hate getting thrown up on, but you'd go and they would, you'd wake these people up and they would just be angry at you. And it's like, I'm not here to judge you. I don't, I, I would even, I'd even train people because a lot of people would give Narcan and go, what did you take? What did you take? I would teach people, don't do that. You know what they took. They took an opiate. Who cares what they took? They took an opiate. We
Or
fixed it.
why.
Yeah.
We all know the choice
Yeah.
happened, and now we move forward with it.
Yeah. We're not going to shame them on what did you take? What did you take? Um, but they have been treated in a way that it's no longer able to treating them and trying to help them, trying to advocate for them ends up being adversarial to what they want. And it is so defeating. It is so defeating to, I had this one guy who was close to our age and he had gotten Narcan by the police. We got there, he started breathing, but his friends that were with him had done CPR on him. The problem with doing CPR on somebody who's not dead is you can really fuck up their heart. You break ribs, you cause an arrhythmia. Don't do it. Um,
Mm.
and I had to like plead with this guy. And I mean, like, I was there for 15 minutes, like, dude, you need to go. And he's like, I'm fine. I'm fine. I just did, I'm like, I know what you did. I know the drugs you did. I don't care about the drugs. You had somebody pressing on your chest doing CPR. I need to make sure your heart's not going to have an arrhythmia. You could die like that because of an arrhythmia. But they are so used to people showing up and going, "Oh, you fucking junkie," that they shut down and it becomes so adversarial and it is so fucking defeating.
I hate that word, junkie. It's like a slur.
Agreed.
It's just. a person with an addiction. They're a person. They're not a junkie. They're a human being.
Y yeah,
Where where I live, there's a lot. There's an area, a couple areas where there's a lot of homeless people with like various indoor, not malls, but almost it mall-ish. Not the nicest areas necessarily. So I'm not like, oh, the malls. They're mall-ish. A lot of paramedics coming in and out, and a lot of very, especially in the winter, you get different homeless people getting calls coming in to check on them for this or that. And I've always seen everyone there behave like very gratefully, though. I've never seen anything like what you're describing.
it
Uh,
happens. It happens more so whenever you see us show up to do we call it a Narcan wake up. Whenever we show up for that, you'll see there's 2 ways to handle it, and usually medics, we don't try to wake them up. I will give them just enough Narcan to start them breathing again, because once they wake up, they they believe that it is once they wake up and you have gotten them to the point that you're treating them, they now see you as trying to hurt them or harm them. And so you instantly lose all you're gonna fight. And I mean sometimes physically they'll fight you and it's like, "Guy, I am trying to help you. I genuinely wanna help you." And
it's
it's
not personal.
yeah. No, it's
The fight or flight kind of thing is what it sounds like. The
mhm,
So what would that
yep.
be? The adrenaline's going and cortisol and such.
Honestly, it's more of a shame that starts it. So
Uh,
it's that it's that spiral of shame because, very few you're not gonna see many people who are using heroin regularly enough to overdose that don't know that they shouldn't do it. They're not doing it the thing about people that are doing heroin, and I would say, a small percentage are people that are like, "I love doing heroin. It is the best fucking thing in the world." Most of them are just, "I have to do this."
right.
It's not a pleasure thing, it's not an enjoyment thing, it is just it's like everybody else drinking water. It has become so chemically dependent in their body that they have to do it. And so, there's a shame that comes with that, right?
Right.
Like, I am overweight. I need to lose weight. I love having ice cream every night. Me and my wife will sit down at the end of the night after the kids go to bed, and we'll have, like, a bowl of ice cream. I'm not proud of myself that I will eat a bowl of ice cream at night, but it's my routine. It's part of everything, right? There's a level of shame to myself about it where I'm like, "Oh, good job, you fat idiot. You're eating more ice cream, then you're gonna go to bed. Great job." It's our addictions, the things that we do for, our addictions to not s to empower our addictions, it comes with such a level of shame and difficulty and pain that when you have to face somebody with it, it can be somebody who's trying to help you, be somebody trying to understand you. If they don't if they're not coming from where you are, then it's not gonna work. Yeah.
I get that. Do you ever have issues with students, like, on your calls for that? Like, the last year, my school had several shootings, not necessarily on campus, but students, like, right off getting shot.
So are you asking if I've had shootings from heroin addicts or
Like,
shootings
is
that
that
have
kind of thing something you deal with? 'Cause I feel like this can't be that weird. That's only happening at my school.
so now in this area, and I will say we don't deal with as many overdoses in the schools up here. It happens, it's just not as frequent, but that's also because most of the schools in the area around here are city schools, and so it's a population that's less about doing opiates and more about, you know, everything else, right? Um, it's very inner city school district, think Dangerous Minds. Um,
East Valley.
yeah, it's demographically speaking, more white people do opiates than black people, and the area in the schools are significantly more African American than they are white. Now, like my wife teaches outside of Syracuse. Hers is a significantly more Caucasian area, and they deal with it there. Um, it's not so much that we deal with the shootings at the same time as the overdoses, because there's a law in New York State that if you are with somebody who overdoses and you call it in, the police can't arrest you, They can't search you. They can't do anything. You are calling in
Huh.
a it's to save lives. Um, and so you are off the hook. They're not going to pat you down and everything like that. Um, what we deal with are afterwards. So it's not uncommon to have a situation where there was a overdose or there was something going on in an area, and then there's a shooting the next day there. It's a lot to do with that. And if you were curious, shootings and stabbings are by far the EMS call I hate the most. Not
Really?
because they're gross, like they're the easiest calls in the world for me. Easiest. Easy. Like when I say like literally I barely have to do any work. You get every cop and every firefighter in a 5-mile radius to show up, and they all want to yell at each other and take selfies because they're the coolest of the cool kids while I'm trying to do my my fucking job. Oh, oh, it sucks. Oh, it sucks.
Wait, they're what? They're doing selfies?
Well, they want to they congratulate each other on being tough guys. It's like the ultimate alpha male gathering, and it's just like, God damn, this sucks. Like nothing is worse than having a guy who's been shot twice in the back of your ambulance that you're trying to make sure you have every life threat taken care of, and you have a cop going, "So who shot you? Tell me who shot you." It's like, bro, get out. Ask him later when he's out of surgery. Like, let me do my job. That is, and it's the same with the overdoses. Cops show up and they will get the person. The person will be awake. And they're like, "Who sold it to you?" Well, they're not going to tell you. They're not gonna fucking tell you. And all you're doing is just pissing them off. So just get out. Get out of my ambulance. I
Do your cop impression again.
oh the
Who shot you? Who did it? Who did it?
yeah, that's yeah. I
So your favorite calls.
What are my favorite?
Well, it sounds like your least favorite. What I mean, it's a dumb way to phrase it, but what are the calls that are like you don't mind as much?
I mean, there's a lot I don't mind. I really anyone that I don't have to deal with the police and the fire department I like. Um I could tell you my
Oh,
favorite call of all time.
sure.
It was me and so my partner Jesse, we were partners for 7 years. He ended up dying a year ago
Oh,
almost. Um like he was like a brother to me. Good dude. Uh,
terrible to hear that.
yeah, he drank himself to death and sucks, but it's what happens when
Yeah, it's
he had
terrible.
worked his own daughter in the back of an ambulance, and you don't come back from that. But he we went to we got called for a 30s female. It came out as EDP, which means emotionally disturbed person. Now, when we'd get an EDP call, it could be anything from somebody being suicidal to somebody needing us to change a light bulb because anything that they couldn't classify as medical, they'd put in as emotionally disturbed person. And so we walk in and probably the same way in your story about how the paramedics are. We walk in and we knock on the door. It's 2:30 in the morning. And we're like, yeah, why are we here? And this white lady answers the door. She's just like, well, I called 911 because I'm either hearing voices or I'm telepathic. And without missing a single beat, Jesse just goes, "It's definitely telepathy." And the two of them then continued for a 45-minute conversation about how they were both Celtic warrior priests reincarnated from unicorns, while I tried to maintain a straight face. And the part that just will always live in my, like, heart, that just settles in the cockles of my heart, is we would at the time, we would do a clearance, so we'd let the hospital know what we were coming in for. And, my clearance was, 30s female, rule out telepathy. And that will always just be, like, the best call I've ever had, where I got to say, "30s female, medical reason for coming in, we're ruling out telepathy." Ah, it was
So what's actually going on with her?
it was psych. I mean, she was out of her schizophrenia medication.
Oh, okay, okay.
But like her and Jesse, they had like the best time in the world, and he was just like, yeah. He went from instead of treating it to be, oh, you're just irresponsible. He was just like, I'm gonna have a good time, and the two of them had the best time. You would have thought they were best friends.
And she didn't feel any kind of way or feel funny or anything. He just made her feel at home.
Yeah, he just said, basically he gave her permission to be weird, and I
Yeah.
think we all need that, right? I think
I don't
that's
need permission. Just am.
well, I mean, yeah, but like it's one thing to like, we all have our weird like issues in our head. That's another thing to have somebody be like, it's cool, go for it.
That's true. Yes.
it was one of the best. It's one of the best calls I've ever had because like genuinely like after a call, I'm exhausted. I'm just tired. I have paperwork to do now. This one, I was like, what? I'm in a great mood. Like that showed me that it's okay. It's okay.
I assume your shifts would go what, like 48, 72 hours?
So it depended on the agency you're working at. The last one I was at was 24 hours. So you do 24 twice a week.
And you would never know when you get to sleep or not,
No,
or when you'd be woken up.
no. Well, so, we'd have two crews on, right? So, and you do it like order. So the first call would go to the first crew and then you're up. So the next call goes to you and the first crew's back up. So the secret is waiting to get back from a call, hoping a call hasn't gone out so the other crew's up, and then you try to sleep.
You ever too amped up? Like, I know this one's calling. I know this one's calling. I can't sleep. Or
It's not so much amped up, it's a like I have a hard time sleeping anyway. I usually can't turn my brain off. Now if
yeah.
you put me in not my own bed, you put me in like in they're twin beds. I'm 6'1", so my feet would hang off the bottom. You put
Hmm.
me in a twin bed and I'd have my weighted blanket with me because again, spectrum. And I'd have my weighted blanket, but I just couldn't get comfortable. I couldn't turn off everything. And so you get like even if we got no calls for the entire 24 hours, I would maybe get 3 to 4 hours of sleep tops. That was a good
Hmm.
day.
What if you had a better bed?
Ah, I don't think it was so much the bad. It was just more so the everything. There is something about falling asleep in a deep sleep only to wake up to have to go to somebody like the one thing with being a medic, right? And this is like the this is what I would teach everybody. And this is the core of the job. I You only see me on the worst day of your life. I'm at my job. You are experiencing the worst day of your life. So it's really hard to go from 0 to 60 in that situation where I need to be ready to be there for the worst day of your life. And so there's no level of like, "Oh, I'm super comfortable now." It's just you coil up like a snake, you know? I think you had written something on one of my articles about it, and I said it's like a roller coaster that you're just waiting to go down.
Oh,
You're just
right, right.
continuously going up, and that's how the entire thing is. It's just that like that do, and you just feel it in your stomach. And
And that's like,
I also wouldn't eat much either. I would eat like once a day because there's nothing worse than ordering food and then getting a call. And because ambulances are gross, no matter how well they clean them, there's been blood, vomit, fluids from the body, everything everywhere. I don't want my food in there.
yeah, I didn't think of that.
Yeah. When you've seen a baby being delivered in the back of an ambulance, you'll never want to be near that floor. There's no level of cleaning it.
Yeah, I don't. I have seen that once, and never again.
Yeah, no, it's a It's no level of cleaning off the floor of an ambulance. And it's just, oh, it's bringing me back to places I don't want to go. So I've stolen you for an hour now. I have to get back to my children. Um,
Okay.
I do want to thank you for coming on. I encourage
Thank you for having me.
everybody, I encourage everybody to go check your stuff out. Um, again,
Thank
it was a pleasure. And honestly, it was just fun having you here. I appreciated it.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. And also check out Fractured Line if you came for me.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, check it out or don't. Mhm.
Do or do not.
Yeah. Yeah. Do or do not. There is no try. Uh, but no, I want to thank everybody for joining us today. As always, please stay loud, stay informed, stay dangerous, and we will see you again next time.
Bye bye. Thank you.